encyclopedia, reference books, theses and dissertations, etc. The library is fully automated. All its holding is available at click of mouse. All special lectures are telecasted live on university website for benefit of everyone. The Fit India program of Government of India has been implemented in the university. The students and the faculty are encouraged to take part in morning and evening yoga classes. The students actively participate in various sports activities. Cycling and walking to work is encouraged. Healthy and nutritious food is served in hostels. Well-stocked gyms are available for girls and boys separately. The infrastructure complements the environment of fruitful learning and teaching. We have approximately 500 acres of campus. 80% of this area is lush green. The concepts of green building are followed in construction. Environment-friendly buildings are energy efficient and aesthetic. We are keen to protect trees, vegetation, and bird habitats in our campus. The university is having its own nursery in the campus. Water harvesting facilities there, and artificial lakes are created to develop natural ambience to attract the birds. Other infrastructural facilities include 100 kilowatt solar power plant, sewage treatment plant, 3 electrical substations, banking facility, post office, shopping complex, transport facility, residential complex, separate girls and boys hostels, university guest house, and university health center. 3 new academic blocks and 1 administrative block has been constructed in the university recently, also a helipad for VVIP visits. All the classrooms and faculty rooms are air conditioned for comfortable learning. Seminar halls are available on every floor for special lectures. The university sincerely aspires to be a center of excellence in cutting edge research. All schools have multidisciplinary approach with focus on applied part of learning. The university is encouraging the students to take up research projects regarding the local flora and fauna. We are keen to solve the problems due to stubble burning in the national capital region. The largest proportion of Indian population is employed in agricultural sector. We are determined to pursue the research aligned to the local problems and issues so as to increase the profits in farming and thereby having an everlasting impact on the quality of life of this region. We have started a tradition of inviting local farmers and entrepreneurs in all our special lectures and conferences so that scientists and farmers can collectively discuss the issues bothering them. Central University of Haryana is established with also a far-sighted vision of developing this area. The university has adopted 10 villages in the vicinity under the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan of Government of India. The university fraternity keeps on organizing various awareness activities for the upliftment of local natives, such as Swachh Bharat, blood donation camps, science exhibitions, etc. This university is running a school named Abhilasha in the campus for educating the children of the laborers working in the university infrastructure constructions. A new tradition has been started by this university to grant degrees in convocation in traditional Indian attires, a deviation from colonial past. The students of the university organize various cultural activities, festivals under the guidance of experienced faculty members. Central University of Haryana represents a mini India. As the students from all over India are studying here, unity in diversity is reflected in CUH. The students from different states celebrate their festivals in the hostels and campus. Everyone actively participates in such celebrations. These celebrations, whereas widen the students' exposure, also increase the cultural harmony among all. The most beautiful part of this campus for the students and parents is to look forward to is the serene atmosphere, natural beauty of the campus, bird sanctuary-like feeling, everlasting view of mountains, best air quality index in the NCR, secure environment, unity in diversity, and teachers on a mission to make you the brightest of the all. Jai Hind.
Thank you, RCT section, for this wonderful introduction of the university. And with the motto, Vidya Dhanam Sarvadhanam Pradhanam, we are organizing our first FDP under this umbrella of AICT Atal program. And let me introduce you this AICT Atal program in few words. So the AICT Training and Learning Academy is committed for the development of quality technical education in the country by initiating various schemes launched by Government of India, Ministry of Human Resource Development, now Ministry of Education. The vision of AICT is to empower the faculty to achieve goals of higher education, such as access, equity, and quality. Councils understands that there is a need of the day to train the young generation in the skill sector and having faculty and technicians to be trained in their respective disciplines. So keeping this in mind, I once again welcome all the participants and stakeholders, speakers, and the guests in this 1 week faculty development program. Now I request Dr. Rakesh Kumar, HOD Computer Science and Engineering, to introduce our participants with our department. Dr. Rakesh ji.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Manish. At first, I would like to thank all the faculty members as well as the students of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, as well as the participants of this FTP for joining this FTP. Now, I will share the formal PPT so that you will come to know the guidelines that we are going to follow in this FTP. Let's share the PPT. That will I hope the PPT is visible to you.
Yes, sir, visible.
Yeah. So we all know this program on 5G towards 5G and beyond using machine learning and IoT. It's sponsored by AICT Training and Learning Academy. AICT Training and Learning Academy was established in 2018. I think all of you are aware of this. They should of they had 5 programs, and in the last year only they have. In this year, Atal Academy is planning to conduct even more than 500 programs. Atal Academy is working in the various emerging areas and disciplines like engineering, management, arts and craft, designs, and media. Like this, this FDP is completely sponsored by the this Atal Academy. So I would like to thank the AICT for giving Central University of Haryana to conduct this program. These are the thrust areas in which this Atal Academy is focusing. And if you people would like to conduct such type of programs at your institute, you can plan in these areas because chances of getting the FTPs in these areas are higher from the AICT, like the artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. These were the 9 areas that AICT identified, I think 2-3 years back. These are the upcoming areas, and research should go on these areas. Now, Dr. Manish has already shown you a very good and informative video about the Central University of Haryana because we are the part of this university. I would like to again tell a few things about this. This university was established in 2018 under the 2009, sorry, by the MHRD, and which is now currently known as the Ministry of Education. We have the permanent campus of around 500 acres, 488 acres exactly, at the Janpali village in the Mahendragarh district of Haryana. And there are multiple departments in this university. Department of Computer Science and Engineering is one of the departments in which we people are working. And this Department of Computer Science and Engineering was established in year 2016 under the School of Engineering and Technology. And the aim of the department is to impart high quality and practical education to the students in the field of computer science and engineering. At present, the department is offering BTech and PhD programs in the CSC. The department is also planning to start the MTech program. These are the thrust areas of the department in which our faculty members or the research scholars are working, like Manage, WSN, Cloud Computing, Cloud Federation. So people who are planning to collaborate with our department, maybe in terms of PhD or maybe in other aspects, they may focus on these areas. These are the faculty members available in our department: Dr. Vishal, Mr. Anand, Dr. Manish, Dr. Binay, Ms. Sangeeta, and I am Dr. Rakesh. Now coming on to this FDP, this FDP is specifically designed for the students, researchers, and academicians. And this course will help the participants to enhance their existing knowledge on the technologies of 5G, Internet of Things, cloud computing, and machine learning. In this, we try to basically collaborate these 3-4 technologies together because these are the upcoming ones. And how? Because no single technology can proceed unless and until we join them. So with the help of collaboration of these things, we will be able to get new research findings in the coming days. The participants will also be able to know about the integration of data analysis, ensemble machine learning, approaches for the data analytics, cloud federation, importance over the basic cloud, and different applications of IoT for social good. In this course, experts from academia and industry share their knowledge to give participants to the principles and the state-of-the-art strategies for the future and research work. The course will help the participant to integrate their knowledge in various research and development activities so that they can apply in their research findings, whatever they are doing. This is the complete schedule for this FDP. I would like to bring one key thing here. Although this is the inauguration function being conducted by our department, but formal inauguration will be conducted at 11 a.m. by the AICTE. We will share the link with you. So you need to join at that time. Now, this is the FDP schedule. First session that will be on introduction to this 5G, IoT, and machine learning and cloud computing, how we can use it. Then we will have a session on applications of IoT for social good. We will study some of the case studies. Then this time, AICTE has said all the coordinators to have one session on stress management for the. So that is why we have this session, stress management for happy life, and this. Then we will have the wireless network and planning testing, then machine learning techniques for big data analysis, then ensemble machine learning for high performance prediction, then security risk management in IoT, IoT implementation using open source tools, innovation and entrepreneurship. This we have kept one session another that is something different from the topic that is required for the innovation and entrepreneurship, because you see most of our students, whether it is BTech or MTech, we are doing a lot of publications or projects, but ultimately the effective output, the country we are not able to solve the real problems that we are facing. So innovation and entrepreneurship is quite important, and even the government is also focusing on this. Then we will have the session on opportunistic networks and this outcome-based education program, accreditation and NEP 20. This is a special session that we have kept in this FDP because we all know you people are experts. Many of you are even the senior professors or associate professors working in the various organizations. So here in this session, in this FDP, we try to have an initiative so that you can proceed in the right direction and you can go ahead. Like these are the demand of the hour, like how we can incorporate the outcome-based education in our curriculum. And National Education Policy 2020 is also going to be implemented soon.
Hello,
And
Sulema.
various universities, like in our
Hello.
university, we have also started. Yeah, please.
Polama.
Participants, you are requested to please keep your mic off. Then we will have the session on cloud federation and its benefits in IoT and significance of software-defined network in 5G, IoT using AWS. And finally, on the last day, we will have the feedback and validation. In this, there will be a test also that the participants need to clear. We will share this test will be of 1 hour, and there will be around 50 questions in this, and participants are required to score at least 60% marks. This condition is proposed by the AICTE exactly. These are the experts, those who will be taking the sessions in this FDP. We have tried to incorporate the experts from industry as well as the academia. And from the academia, we have the experts from IITs, we have the experts from NITs, we have the experts from NITTR, Jadavpur University, Kolkata Universities, and our own university, that is the Central University of Haryana. If we talk about the industry, we have the director UNET Solutions, we have the director Magna Consultancy, we have the director Telco Creds, and some other experts are also there from the university, from the industry. Now, these are some of the instructions. Those are specifically meant for the participants. This is the WhatsApp group. I think many of you have already joined. As I said, the formal inauguration will be conducted by the AICTE today at 11 a.m. The link for that will be shared with you. So there will be a slight change in the next session. The next session will be starting at, next technical session will be starting at 12 noon rather than 11:30. First session will be starting right now after this inauguration, this program. Then we will start the first technical session. Then we will have the formal inauguration by the AICTE at 11 a.m. today, and then we will have another next our technical session. Each participant should have the desktop and laptop so that you will be able to connect. Internet connection is required. You all know. Please keep your microphone muted. This is required because if you switch on the microphone, the experts will be disturbed. So I request, please keep your microphone in the switch off position. If you have any query, you can just put that into the chat box. The speaker will address it at the end. And please join the sessions 4 to 5 minutes before. And as per the Atal guidelines, candidates are required to maintain minimum 80% attendance. This attendance is mandatory. We are going to take the attendance directly from the software, Cisco WebEx. So please ensure your attendance is more than 80%, and 60% marks are required in the FTP. And you are requested to attend all the sessions. Don't leave the session in between. The participants attending the full session on all the days will receive the attendance. Please leave the meeting by yourself immediately after this, and keep your videos switched off throughout the meeting unless asked to switch on, because it looks very awkward when someone is moving behind you, your family members, or maybe some others. So it basically disturbs the exposure. Participants are also required to fill the feedback form at the end of each session or whenever it is shared with you. And you are also required to fill the feedback at the Atal portal. Now, please remember this thing. Filling the feedback at the Atal portal is mandatory to get the certificate. You are required to fill all the details that are available on your AICTE portal, because you will be getting certificate directly from there. I think many of you are already aware of these things. And these are the contact persons of the coordinator. If you face any difficulty during this, you can contact us. So at the end, I would like to formally welcome you, all the participants, in this 5 days FDP. I hope this FDP will be quite informative and knowledgeable to you, and you will be able to enhance your knowledge and apply it at your own level, at the institute level, so that student will be benefited. Now, in the end, I would like to take any query or any interaction with the participant, if you would like to say, because the next formal inauguration with AICTE, you will be able to join through YouTube link. So there you will not be able to pose the question directly. If you have any questions either to us or to the AICTE, you can just raise now so that we can discuss with them before the start of this next technical session. That's it. Thank you. Is there any query? You can take now. Otherwise,
Thank you, sir, for this brief introduction and the briefing of various norms for this FDP. We are open for the questions if there are. Otherwise, we will move ahead.
yeah, I think there is no.
Right. So thank you once again, sir. Before moving ahead,
Yeah,
I request the
some
ICT
participant would like to say something. Is there any query from participant?
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, good morning,
Yeah,
everybody.
ma'am, please.
I am Kavita Taneja from Punjab University, Chandigarh. And first
Welcome,
of
ma'am,
all,
please.
I would like to thank the university and the entire team for organizing this thing in the online mode. Because in COVID session, we are also looking forward, and our research group is also participating in this particular activity. And I mean, I feel after this introduction that the topics that will be covered would be very, very beneficial. And it is a contribution to the research community. So we are looking forward to all the sessions. So best wishes from Chandigarh, Punjab University. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your wishes.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I request the ICT section to please play the national anthem before we move ahead, and then we will formally start with the introduction of our first speaker. ICT section, please.
I request all participants to please stand for national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, ICT section. And now, let us formally introduce our first speaker of the day. So we have Dr. Rakesh Ji, and he is also our HOD, Head of the Department for Computer Science and Engineering. So he received his BTech in Computer Science and Engineering from Punjab Technical University, Jalandhar in 2004, MTech from Guru Gobind Singh University, Delhi in 2008. He received his PhD degree in Computer Engineering from NIT Kurukshetra in 2015, started his career from NIT Kurukshetra, where he worked as a lecturer. And now at present, he is working as an associate professor and head in the Computer Science and Engineering Department, Central University of Haryana. He has a number of publications in international and national conferences, also in various refereed journals in his credit. He is also a reviewer of many international journals and conferences. He has organized many short-term courses and the conferences, workshops. He is an active member of many professional bodies in the engineering domain. He has guided and is guiding various PhD and MTech candidates. So his key area of interest include the managed software testing, data analysis, and the cloud computing. Sir, we request you to please proceed with the first session.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Manish. You can start the first technical session. As I said to you, this course is on towards 5G and beyond, how we are moving towards 5G technologies. Using the machine learning, using the IoT, using the cloud computing, as I already said to you, these all will work in a combination. In this session, we will have an introduction of all these technologies, and in the coming sessions, we can see how we can apply these together. Because we all know, like in the earlier mobile system, when we have the wireless communication, the speed of this internet connectivity was very low. But as soon as the speed has been increased, various applications are changing and the system is completely evolving in a different way. Now, we talked about earlier, the industry is providing the software in the either in the floppy disk drive, then they start with providing the selling the softwares in the compact disk, then they started the mic binding the software. Now the industry is selling the software in the form of just like the cloud based. You can just log in from any location and you can access your software whatever you are having. So this is possible because nowadays we are having a very good internet connectivity. We can access the cloud services at any from any location. It has given us various advantages, like the same type of software we are going to access from different locations without any lag. But this is not possible only with one just improvement in one direction, like only in the hardware. It is only possible with the improvement in both hardware as well as the software. And like with the advent of this IoT and machine learning, many of the inputs earlier we were taking the inputs in the form of manual system. We were just sharing the uh, either the questionnaire or the survey form like this. But nowadays everything is automated. Like suppose if I am coming from my office to the home here, like suppose it is a summer season, I would like to switch on the AC before I actually enter in my room, so that my room will be in a compatible temperature. Similarly, if I am going by a car, my car is already parked in the sun. So if I just go straight away and sit over there, I will find it quite hot. So nowadays, many features are coming with the help of this connected technologies. It is not just the users or the people are connected with the help of this uh, wireless technology. Now the machines and even the devices are also connected using this. So these are the sensor devices. These are becoming the widely available nowadays. With the help of this only, the machines as well as the humans, they are able to interact or they communicate. More the things are being connected nowadays. Daily, we are getting new and new devices with the internet connectivity. They can connect. Nowadays, we are having even the wearable watch. Through that, we can also connect. We are having the smart watches. We are having the smart healthcare systems. Now, before this COVID-19 pandemic, we always say that the online education is not as much effective. We even talk about this healthcare system. The telemedicine kind of services are not possible, but this COVID pandemic has taught us many new things through which we are able to uh, know how these devices, these smart devices can help us, and completely the system has been changed. But this is only possible because we are having these smart devices hardware as well as the software or the latest algorithm that we can apply in this, and they are automatically getting the results. So this is possible. Now people connecting to these things earlier, as I said, earlier gone were the days when people were uh, communicating with the people only. Now the people are communicating with the machines. Like as I am communicating with my smartphone, maybe with smartwatch, even with my vehicle. As I said, through my smart gadget, I can control the instruments of my car. We are also having the motion sensor. We can calculate how much calories I have burnt through the day. This is possible with the help of these technologies. But if we have suppose these smart devices, but our infrastructure is not supporting such high-speed internet connectivity, then this is not possible with this. So we need to connect the things with the things as well as the things to the human. We nowadays we want as less interaction or the interference of the humans with the machines. We want machines should interact with another thing on their own, and they take the decisions on behalf of the us as we are thinking. Like it may be possible that like suppose let's just I have taken an example of this telemedicine. Suppose if I am having the expert system, earlier we were having the expert systems for this telemedicine kind of services. Mycin was the first expert system that was developed with the intention of providing the services to the users. I request the participant to please keep your mic on switch off position. So I was talking about the telemedicine system. Mycin was the first expert system, but after that, uh, that Mycin was not a successful one. Although for a few, you can say the few years, it was successful. But later on, we found that it is not able to take the decisions on its own. Whatever we have fed in it in the form of rules, only if that conditions are shown, then it is able to take the decision. But as soon as it goes to some new scenario, it is not going to take the decision or give you the right kind of result. That is why machine learning comes into the picture. And there, these machines, by using the latest, you can say the fast connections, broadband connection, connected devices. This machine will directly advise the patient ki how what are the symptom will be said by the patient. Then the machine automatically detect whether a person is really suffering from a particular disease or not. This is possible with the help of things connecting to the thing. Then we have the wireless sensor network, which was basically the can say the initial you can set up for this whole internet connectivity. And then more and more number of nodes and more connections are joined. We found that the IPv4 addressing, the simpler addressing, is not successful for this IoT kind of scenario, because here in IoT we have very small devices. Similarly, if the device is small, its battery capacity is also very less, and then accordingly its operating system will also be a limited one. It is having a limited capability. So we need to restrict, because in this IoT devices we don't need all such kind of facilities with the operating system in the conventional devices. We need only limited facility, and then we can have only this limited facility in this tiny operating system, so that our device can work fast as well as for a longer duration, because these devices are working on the battery. So machine to machine interaction, now billions of interconnected devices are there, everybody is connected. We need to have the smart network, data centric and context oriented networking. Now why we are focusing towards the data center? Because as I already said to you, because this, with the help of these uh, IoT, like suppose we are going to install automatic watering of plants. Suppose I have a garden just right to my house. I would like to install automatic watering system over there. So I have installed the sensors over there. Now sensors will sense whether a particular humidity level or the water content level is there in it or not. As soon as the sensor will find that the humidity level or the water level has gone down, or it will just send the message to the central location where we are managing the service, and there it will just switch on the tap, and just it will start the automatic watering of plants. So here there is no human interaction. It is completely the machine to machine interaction, and ultimately water will be given to the plants so that they will grow further. Similarly, we can automatically install in it, like we can install our this system, automatic watering of plant system, with the our GPS or this weather forecasting system that is available in our mobile phone. So we can integrate with this, and we can find that what are the chances of rain today, what are the chances of precipitation today, and accordingly, if there are the chances of rain, there is no need to give the water today. Rather, we will delay it to the tomorrow or maybe to the evening. So such type of integration is possible with the help of these IoTs and machine learning kind of applications. And it is all possible with the help of data, because nowadays we are getting the data automatically with the help of these smart devices or the smart sensors. These smart sensors automatically collecting the data from these locations. And after collecting the data, these are going to store it, and accordingly, on the basis of the past data, we are going to predict the future, and with the help of cloud storage and cloud computing facilities. Because now once the data is there, we are getting too much amount of data, but this, unless and until we are able to store this data, and we are not able to manage this data, process this data, then this data is of no use. So this is possible with the help of only cloud storage, because we are storing the data onto the central storage location that is available with the cloud, and it is available throughout the globe. You can access your data from any location, because if each and every person will buy the whole computing facility at its own place, it is quite costly, because we need high-end computing systems only at some time, not all time it is required. So it's advisable to go for per pay use model kind of thing that is available in cloud computing. You can pay for the storage that you require. You can pay for the uh, computing facilities you require, and accordingly computation can be done. We can take another example of this data and data centric environment nowadays. You can find Google is saving each and every information of us. Google is saving each and every information of us. Like, I think many of you have already seen there is a facility available in the Google that is known as the My Activities. आप सभी लोगों ने देखी भी होगी My Activities. Google is storing whatever action I am taking from morning to night, 24/7. They are just capturing our information. Now they are paying for this. They are storing this information. They are paying for this. They are managing this data. Now, what will the Google is going to get out of it? Google, because on the basis of our data that the Google is collecting, we are going to get the advertisement according to that only. I will give you one example. Google is also collecting our location with the help of Google Timeline, Google Timeline Maps. आप सब लोगों ने देखी भी होगी timeline. So there you will find for the last few days I have visited. What are the locations through which I have visited? So suppose if through that map, if Google is able to identify that I am a frequent traveler, because suppose if in the morning I am in Delhi and suppose if in the evening I am in the Bombay, and if this pattern follows, in morning I am in Delhi, afternoon I am in Bangalore, maybe Kolkata, and any other city, it means I am a frequent traveler and I am traveling by plane. So as per that, we may start getting the advertisements from maybe from yatra.com, maybe from other this websites, like mytrip.com, so that they can give us the offers accordingly. Such type of information is quite useful for these industries because they are going to target their right customers. So with the help of this, they are going to enhance their sales and get the good return out of it. Let's move further. So if we talk about the future networks, any line connection, any place connection, and anything connection, this is what we are expecting in the coming years, so that any device can be connected from any location at any time. This is possible with the help of internet. This is the Cisco, this image from Cisco. It was the earlier image. This figure has already crossed by 2020. Cisco expected to have the 50 billion devices connected with the internet, but this figure has already been crossed. So extending the current internet and providing the connection, communication, and internetworking between the devices and physical objects, things is a growing trend that is often referred to as the Internet of Things. The technologies and solutions that enable integration of real-world data and services into the current information networking technologies are often described under the umbrella term of the IoT. This we have already discussed. Like this IoT will change the business trend. Businesses are going to get profit using this. This is one of the emerging technologies. Growing IoT services and applications are the key nowadays. I will share another example with you. Like suppose with the help of this data, if we are, because earlier we said the person who is having the high computing facility, high machine, supercomputers were the things we were talking earlier. But nowadays we are talking about the data-centric approaches are more focused. We are focusing on the data analysis. The person who is having the good or the you can say the refined data, more appropriate business decisions can be taken accordingly. We have already seen this Flipkart and Amazon. These are the e-commerce websites, e-commerce companies. They are completely managing their whole business on the basis of this only. They are giving the they are collecting the information from the users. They are collecting the information from the user, and like if straight away somebody asks me like, sir, what is your salary? Where do you live? I do not want to say anything. But these companies are collecting our information in the form of whenever I enroll, they give us like a form in which I fill our information, and accordingly they take the decisions. Whenever I purchase any of the products, they give us the recommendation. Sir, this is another product. This is similar to this, which will be beneficial for you. The people in the same age group have purchased this product, and the in the nearby geographical area, like suppose if I am residing in the northern part of the country, here winters are quite uh, cold and the summers are quite hot. So the people, if in the winter part, if somebody has purchased a leather jacket, it may be recommended to me also on the basis of my geographical location. Such type of decisions or the recommendations are only possible if these companies are collecting the data and appropriate algorithms they are applying, and accordingly they are giving us the recommendation. But this is not possible by manually collecting the information and then giving us the recommendation. It is only possible when we have the it is possible by doing it automatically. Similarly, another example, let's take, if suppose there are two persons who are just interacting on the, you can say maybe Facebook, on any other platform, maybe. Suppose one person write on the chat to the another friend, my dear, your picture is not coming clear. And another person on the other side, he responded, yeah, yesterday my son has just dropped down my laptop, and unfortunately its camera got broken. Now it's not working properly. So my friend from the other side replied, he, you can just get it repaired or maybe replaced. So other person replied, yeah, I am planning to buy a new laptop because this laptop is already old. So this conversation where one person is planning to buy a new laptop, this will be quite useful for the industry or the company who is selling the laptop. So if they are able to extract the appropriate information from these kind of chats, although these chats are personal, but still many of the information are available on the public platform where we interact. Then such type of information may be quite useful for Flipkart or maybe for this Amazon. They can recommend us the laptop accordingly. So these are the various opportunities. These are available in various fields, like in the communication. People are connected with the help of this IoT and the 5G technologies. Then we have the medical enhancement, and we have seen all our latest these machines, telemedicine or medicine machines. These all are computer operated. They have multiple chips inside it to which they are managing. Then we have these vehicles. So in each vehicle, it is a kind of smart vehicles. There are thousands of sensors or maybe these sensors in it that gives the drivers information regarding the various things. One of the latest feature, I think all of you have seen the advertisement of XUV 700. The Mahindra is going to launch in the coming days. They are going to introduce the driver drowsiness feature in this, in which they are going to just sense on the basis of the gestures of the driver whether the driver is really feeling drowsiness or not. Even the Tata has already given a similar kind of feature in their latest cars like Harrier and this Safari, where if you are driving your car for too much long time, they give you a recommendation like take a break and have a coffee or a tea. But I think this Tata is giving us the recommendation on the basis of just this time which the driver is continuously driving the car. But this Mahindra, they are going to plan the driver drowsiness feature on the basis of the gestures of the driver, how exactly the driver is really behaving, so that it will be able to reduce the number of accidents in the coming days. Similarly, if we are able to get all these, the 71% of the shoppers are multi-channels with the help of this. These e-commerce websites, as you can see, they are getting even the 70% of the businesses of the local market. Even the local sellers, they are also enrolled on these e-commerce websites. I request the participants to please keep your mic on switch off position because it may be disturbing to the others. Participants, please keep your mic on the switch off position. So this is the technology trend from the 2000. You can see earlier we were having the RFID tags for facilitating the routing, inventory, and loss prevention. Then we have moved to surveillance, security, healthcare, transport, food safety, document management. Then we have the locating people and everyday objects. And similarly, we are moving towards the passage of time as the hardware technology is increasing. We are getting large and large uh, data storage facilities available with us. Similarly, we are going to process data at a faster rate also using the latest algorithm. Another example of this is the Facebook, where you can save whatever information you are having. Maybe you can upload the picture, you may upload the video, you may upload the any of the thing you want to upload there. Then accordingly, suppose I want to see a picture or a video that I uploaded suppose 10 years back onto the Facebook. But suppose this Facebook is going to take suppose 5 to 10 minutes to process this information. Then it will be really a challenge to us. But Facebook processes the information in the fractions of seconds. That is why Facebook is so much popular. If we talk I think 10-20 years back, people were using the Yahoo. Then people shifted from Yahoo to Reddit because the downtime was very high in case of Yahoo, and many a time this is not working properly. Then people shifted from Yahoo to Reddit. Similar problem we started facing in the Reddit. Then people shifted from Reddit to Google. But Google is giving us the results perfectly because Google is improving its hardware as well as its software with the passage of time. Now we all know that over the globe we have around 300 I think in India we have 135 crore population. China is around 140, approximately 140 crore. So over the globe we have more than 300 crore population. Out of this, if we assume that even the half of the people are having this Google account, then also it is 150 crore. So can you imagine if you just type your username and password? Password will also go into the encrypted form. These two are saved in different files. Then this Google ki PageRank algorithm, it matches the username and the password. I think there is some noise from the participant. IT section, could you please switch off the mute the participant? I think Ranjani and Dr. I think were from where the noise is coming. I think Sashi Kumar, Dr. Sashi Kumar, please I think switch off your mic. So with the smart growth, according to a study conducted by the Frost and Surveillance in 2011, the global RFID market of 3 billion to 4 billion will grow by the 12% per year through 2016 and reach a volume of approximately 6.5 billion to almost $9 billion. So this has already come true in the current scenario where this is growing day by day. Product sales is also increasing. These figures are quite old, but we all know after the COVID pandemic, everything has gone to the higher side. So growth in the internet connected devices. This was the image that was launched in 2011. In 2020, they expected around 50 billion. This figure has already crossed. So if we talk about the global data generation, every day around 20 quintillion bytes of data are produced. And this data includes the textual content to multimedia content on a variety of platforms. As we have discussed in the Facebook, we may upload the video, we may upload the text information, we may upload the audio, we may upload the images, and we may upload the data in any of the formats. Now, what is exactly going on at the backside at the Facebook, where they are having this whole information, processing it at the end in a fraction of a second, and they are able to display it. This is only possible with the help of latest algorithms these Facebooks are using. Data is generated with the help of these automated devices, because nowadays data streaming is going on, and accordingly data is continuously being generated. So if we talk about the describing the IoT, it is a world where things, devices or sensors are connected and able to share their data. So data coming from these devices and sensors provide business insights that were previously out of reach. So जब से ये data हमें मिलना शुरू हुआ, we can take some of the business decisions that can help us to grow our business, to increase the sales, generate the revenue, and also give the right recommendation to the users also. And nowadays, with these tools, it is not this information will be presented in such an easy format, so that even the top level management who may not be from the computer science background, they will be able to understand it. So the invaluable insights enabled by harnessing and analyzing the data from these connected devices are what the Internet of Things is all about. IoT systems allow users to achieve deeper automation, analysis, and integration within the system. This is possible with the help of AI. Now we even not straight away talk about the AI, rather we talk about the machine learning. So connectivity is there. Already in India, we are using the 4G technologies, 5G technologies. Trial is going on in the rest of the world. 5G is already there. So with the 5G, we are able to achieve even 1 Gbps internet speed. Then we have the sensors through which we are automatically generating the data. Then active engagement of user is not at all required. Then we have the small devices. The spelling is mistake. Okay. So improved customer engagement. These are the advantages of IoT. As we said, now all these businesses, they are growing with the help of the better customer satisfaction. They are having the customer engaged with them with the help of feedback or maybe some other kind of mechanism. This is possible with the help of these smart devices. We have the technology optimization, we have the reduced waste, we have the enhanced data collection. There are some disadvantages also. The security breach may be possible, like because there was an old adage: the more the number of doors you are having at your home, the chances of burglary or the thief entering your house will be high. So similarly, as we have allowed everything within multiple codes, maybe I'm having the smart AC, I'm having the smart vehicle, I'm having the smart television, I'm having the smart fridge, and with the help of this, these things are giving us the advantages. Like suppose I'm having a smart refrigerator. Suppose now if summer season is going on, so if suppose my cold drink is finished, automatically my refrigerator will check. Now there is an empty slot over there, and the cold drink is going to be finished by measuring the weight, and it will give me a message on my smartphone that the cold drinks are going to be finished in the maybe another 1 day. You need to just uh, fill the stock again. So these are the advantages that we are getting with the help of these smart devices. But think on the other side, because my refrigerator, now it is a smart device, it is connected to the internet, So any person who is having the access to the internet, if he is or she is able to breach this security, he may remotely switch off my AC, sorry, my refrigerator, maybe some another function. Maybe if he is able to enter into the my refrigerator settings, he may change some of the settings. He may give me the false alarm and something like that. And many hazardous things may happen if the security breach occurs over there. So more the number of advantages you are having with this, the chances of security breach will also be higher. And the challenge here is because if you apply the complex security algorithm here, it will be going to take more time for processing. But as we have already discussed, these IoT devices are very small in nature. They are running on the battery, and if you just be not able to provide the good security using the very little less complex algorithm with the higher security, then they will be breached. Similarly, privacy is another challenge where any person may enter into your private network. And complexity, as I said to you, because the devices are very small, operating system is also tiny, we need to have the algorithms accordingly. Then we need to have the flexible architecture where multiple uh, devices may be connected at any time, any place, and maybe from any format of the device. Like it is not just the computer to computer communication. It may be from your laptop to your refrigerator. It may be from your refrigerator to your car. Maybe from your car to your room AC. So all these devices are of different nature. They have different tasks. Your washing machine, your oven, and these devices, your television, they have their different tasks as well as the different features. But they are smart in nature. We need to provide the connectivity accordingly. So they need to comply some standard also through which these devices may be connected. Because as I said, they are different in nature, but we need to provide some kind of connection to it. So if we talk about the IoT hardware, we need to have the remote dashboard. We need to have the devices to control. We need to have the servers, routing or bridge devices, sensors. So the most important hardware in IoT might be its sensors. These devices consist of energy modules, power management modules, RF modules, and sensing modules. RF modules manage communications through their signal processing, Wi-Fi, Zigbee, Bluetooth, radio transceiver, duplexer, and DAW, and many more devices may be connected. So, if we talk about the software, as we already discussed, the software and hardware, these two things grow parallelly. It is not like that if you are having a latest hardware, but your software does not, is, you can say, the comparable with it, then it will not be connected. So the device integration, real-time analytics be required, application and process extension are required. So these are the things we expect from the software. Your software must be integrated with the hardware, whatever device you are going to use. And here we are not talking about the your raw data, rather we are getting the real-time data on the go. So data is continuously coming to us. It may be the data streaming. Maybe a live cricket match is going on at the Bangalore and I am seeing it onto my television. Data is continuously coming. And we also need to differentiate between the data. Sometimes, if suppose one of the packet is lost in between the communication. So if it is a live streaming kind of match, if one of the packet is lost, we do not bother about that. Rather, we will move to the next packet. But if it is a something else, like suppose I am just seeing a recorded video, in that case, you can just delay the things and just get the buffering done. Or maybe if it is a something else kind of data, accordingly decisions may be taken. So these are the technology and protocols that you may use: RFID, NFC, low energy Bluetooth, low energy wireless, radio protocol, long-term evolution, Wi-Fi direct, and maybe many more may be used. So engineering, industry, and infrastructure, these are the common uses of IoT and these smart devices. इंजीनियरिंग में तो हर जगह पे आजकल IoT है. Everything is being controlled with this sensor. All the latest machines you will find there are a number of sensors in it. As I said, in the car nowadays there are thousands of sensors. Everything is automated. Many of the features companies are providing. In industry also, earlier we need to manage the things manually. Persons are managing the many of the machines over there. But now I think everything is automated. There is very less human intervention over there. And accordingly, we will have the infrastructure for IoT devices. Like we are nowadays, we are talking about the digital India, smart cities. So we are talking of the smart cities. Many of these, our honorable Prime Minister is having a vision that in the coming years we will be having the smart villages also. So many of the villages have been adopted by the many of our honorable member of parliament. Similarly, these smart cities or the smart villages, they will have everything connected to the IoT and the internet. If you want to apply for suppose any kind of certificate, maybe for electricity connection, maybe for your birth certificate, death certificate, everything will be automated through these in the coming years. Like even in our country, like this garbage collection is doing on manually. We have the vehicles. People come there in this uh, their garbage collection, maybe tractor trolley, maybe some other source, they collect it. But if you go to the other parts of the world, like in Sweden, they have automated everything. They have the drones. Drones will automatically go over there. They will automatically collect the garbage from the garbage box and just put it onto the their vehicle, and it will be done automatically. So there is very less human intervention. That is why they are able to manage the things smoothly. Similarly, government and safety also. Uh, as we all know, the least the human intervention will be there, the more transparent the government will be. Like as I said in the today's session, we will be taking the attendance of the participants through this software. Now there will be less human intervention. Now consider the case earlier. Suppose I am the coordinator of this program, and suppose I am entering the attendance manually. So whosoever is known to me, I will enter his attendance. But because I have automated this thing, it will be done through software only. So there is no scope of any kind of intervention. So similarly, the transparency will be higher in that case. So you will, in the government also, the government of India is nowadays under the leadership of our honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi ji. So government is planning to remove the human intervention from many of the places, and directly the devices will be interacting with the public. As well as it also increases the safety also. Then we have the home and office. As I have taken many of the examples till now, all these devices are connected with the help of this uh, uh, IoT technology, like AC, as I said, a washing machine, refrigerator. So these all will be connected to my smartphone, my smartwatch, and accordingly decisions will be taken. Then we have the healthcare system and medicine system. Nowadays, even the sensors are implanted into the body so that uh, they can give the signals accordingly to the doctor who is at the remote side. Then we may have the connections with the group of persons who are sitting together in a room. They may collaborate together in any of the like data collection regarding the healthcare system or the medicine, and they give us the feedback. So IoT can solve many of the challenges. This is one of the real like problem. This example is from the Mumbai's Dharavi. Let's see what there. So IoT can provide an important benefit to gain greater efficiencies and new business models. As we all know, in our India, electricity is being provided by the government agencies, and uh, nowadays, government system is planning to just remove the human intervention there also, and this electricity will be directly managed and controlled by the devices. Let's see here. So this can make significant differences in closing the poverty gaps. Now, this is the area of Dharavi. This is the map of Mumbai. So here we have the 1.12 per cubic meter of water we are talking about, and this is the Warden Road nearby to it. So Dharavi is the poorest neighborhood in Mumbai. Warden Road is better side of the city, just near to that. So the amount of people from Dharavi pay for municipal grade water is 1.12 per cubic meter. This compares to 0.03 for residents of Warden Road. Now, you see, Dharavi, the people are poor compared to the other side. Still, they are paying higher, around 1.12 per cubic meter. Now, why this is there? Because this is injustice is clear. The poor people of Mumbai pay 37 times more for the water. Now, and this water is basically the basic necessity. So the main source of disparity is the higher cost of delivering utility services to poor neighborhoods because of infrastructure inefficiencies, problems such as leak and theft. So if there is no leak or no theft or there is no wastage, then we can save more than 50% of this cost. And accordingly, if each and every people start paying for the amenity that it is using, accordingly, the price will be divided. In Delhi, more than 50% of power distributed by the North Delhi was not paid by the customer. These are some of the statistics taken by the reports. A key challenge for power companies is reducing the theft in India. So, like the government of Haryana has also initiated the subsidy to the people who are paying the bills regularly for the last few years, and as a result of that, more and more people started paying the bills. So government is planning new schemes. They are giving the different kinds of offers to the users, and accordingly, situation is getting better day by day. So IoT, because of its ubiquitous sensors and connected systems, will provide authorities with more information and control in order to identify and fix these problems. This will allow utilities to operate more profitably, giving them extra incentive to infrastructure in poorer neighborhoods. And as a result of that, it will be free to become paying to the customers. This is another example of this gamified toothbrush. Now, I am having a small at my home. I think of I found this example very interesting. So brushing your teeth can feel like a chore, especially if you are a child. So it's important to find ways of getting them interested in their own dental care. So I always remind him, my son, please brush up your teeth in the morning as well as at the night, and even after 2-3 reminders he goes, and then also he just move the brush 1 or 2 times and then will come back. Now let's see this example. This French company Colibri has developed a smart toothbrush that interacts with smartphone games in order to make the oral hygiene more fun. So as soon as the child will move his brush from left to right, and accordingly the children will be earning some rewards in the game, and accordingly the child is able to take care of his dental care better. So this is the advantage of this smart brush, but in our country it may or may not be as that successful because people are more concerned about the children addicted to this smartphones or the smart technology. On the other hand, if the children are each and every time they are just connected with these devices, so they may be disconnected with the people in India. We are as family members are more connected, and we want the people to be connected more as compared to the devices. But maybe this is a good example. So this Colibri toothbrush also has features to appeal to older users, including the ability to track and monitor which parts of our mouth you are brushing more often than the others. So this brush has that much of facilities, or I can say it is collecting the information to that extent that which part of your mouth is brushed more as compared to the other part. Maybe possible that you are just brushing the upper teeth or maybe the lower teeth, and accordingly it is giving you the feedback. So it will be good for the older people. They can take the decisions accordingly. So IoT is the solution in search of a challenge. Connectivity is a human need and desire. We want people to be connected as far as possible. It is a, as we all know, when there was no road or no vehicles were available long back, maybe 50, 60 years back in our country, people were people were not much connected. But as soon as the roads are developed, people are more connected. You can say the places are most connected. But with the advent of telephone, people are further more connected with each other, because earlier we used to write the letter. It takes 4 to 5 days to reach to my relative. Suppose I was a student and I was studying at a different location. I used to write the letter to my parents, and sometimes this letter may be lost in between. And but with the help of telephone, all such things were gone, and after that, the mobile phones came into the picture. And nowadays, we are having the smartphones. And if my smartphone is down, or maybe my internet is not working, maybe for 5, 10 minutes, I find it very difficult for it to work. So internet connected the people as well as the community. Internet actually connected the people and the devices and the places. So anytime, any place, any device is connected. Now this was the project in 2004, the Golden Quadrilateral, proposed by our late uh, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, to connect the 4 metropolitan cities by road. So, with the development of this project, it ultimately resulted in saving of fuel as well as the passenger time. But ultimately, people from different locations, they started working at the remote site because it is very convenient to come and go. So the basic concept of IoT is to make entire world connected deeply and the widely, because it should not be like this. The internet speed is low, or maybe we don't have proper processing capability, we don't have the proper storage capability, and so on. So addressable, accessible, and the actionable, these are what we basically want our each and every object. We want each and every object to be addressable. I can address my device. Now if I can address my laptop, it is having the IP address, it is having the name. But if I talk out my normal refrigerator, it's not connected to the internet. So when it is connected to the internet, it should be addressable. It should be accessible. I can access it from remote location. I can change the temperature setting of my refrigerator. It should be actionable also. Automatically, it can change the things. So consider my house. It is addressable. It has an address. You can send a post courier to that house. It is accessible, but it is not actionable. You cannot close its door from here. So if you have a smart door installed at your home, you can just control the door of your home from the remote location. So addressable, actionable, and accessible, you find it in your house, your mobile phone, your computer, your TV remote. So we want now, in the coming days, we will be finding that all these devices will be addressable, accessible, as well as the actionable. So the fixed internet wave connected only the 1 billion people in 1990, but now each and everything is connected. IoT is expected to connect 28 billion things to the internet by 2022, ranging from bracelets to the car. You will find that the bracelets the people are wearing in their hand, this will also be having the sensors, or it will be connected to the internet. So the Internet of Things connects devices such as everyday consumer objects and industrial equipment onto the network. What does IoT enable? Enabling information gathering and management of these devices via the software thing. And as a result of that, this is the growth to which the world population is growing, connected devices is going. You can see the world population is 7.6 billion, the connected devices are 50 billion. So, IoT, if we compare the IoT and internet, so what the IoT does and how is it different from the internet, you can see sensing. IoT devices can leverage the sensors attached to things, temperature, pressure, acceleration. But if you talk about the internet, it is the more data is generated by the things with sensors than the people. like Gmail, we are having the 15 GB. So what the IoT does, it is efficiency. It adds intelligence to the manual processes. Earlier, we are doing the things manually with the human intervention, but here with the help of IoT, we are reducing the power usage on hot days. It extends the internet's productivity gains to things and not just people. So alone, neither IoT can work nor internet can work. IoT connects the objects to the network like the cars, thermostats, watches. Like suppose there is a army platoon moving towards to the border. They are moving in a group, so there will be a group of connected vehicles. They will be connected. Uh, Earlier, they were using the you can say the walkie-talkie, but nowadays, if you all know, 1 or 2 years back, there was a war between the uh, Azerbaijan and Armenian, these two countries, and there these drones, or you can say the unmanned, you can say the vehicles, they played the key role in that war to decide. So nowadays we are shifting towards a kind of scenario where it's rather than the machines or the devices than the people actually. So we have the IoT customizes the technology and process to specific verticals, that is the healthcare, retail, oil, etc. And if we talk about the internet, this is the more data is generated by things with sensors than the people, unlike the broad horizontal reach. So these are the things. And why now we are more shifting towards the IoT? This is because of the cheap hardware devices available nowadays and the cheap bandwidth. Cheap bandwidth means as we are shifting towards the 4G and 5G technologies, better internet speed is provided to the user at a less cost. Then we have the smartphones. Then we have the cheap processing. Nowadays, if we can see, although with this COVID pandemic, the cost of you can say the uh, devices, you can say the computer devices or maybe the electronic devices has gone slightly up. But if we see the pattern for the last 10 to 20 years, the cost of hardware is going down day by day, and the cost of software is also accordingly going in parallel to that. Nowadays, we are having the large or the more capable softwares of the similar cost. So more smartphones are available. It's small in size. They can process the large amount of data. Then we have the ubiquitous wireless coverage. Then we have the big data. Uh, Earlier, we were talking of the big data in terms of only it was only just the size of the data, but nowadays it's not just only the size. There are multiple V's involved in this big data. It is the volume, it is the variety of data, it's velocity, and there are multiple V's over there also. And then now we are shifting from IPv4 to IPv6 addressing to address the large number of devices, because in case of IPv4 we find the address limited. So what is needed to actually realize these devices? Expanding the telecom cable and satellite pipes that carry the traffic to broader. Nowadays, many of us are getting this Wi-Fi or you can connection, broadband connection with the help of our cable service providers. Wi-Fi network is a critical part here. Devices with sensor, memory chips, and software necessary to communicate with pipe is key here. So IoT is basically a feature for the student. You can see these are the characteristics of our IoT devices. One is the internet interconnectivity. Anything can be connected to global information and communication infrastructure. This we have already discussed. In IoT, interconnectivity is the key. Any two devices, they can communicate amongst themselves directly. As I have already given you the example of automatic watering of plants, if you have integrated the two devices like your weather predictor unit of your smartphone with the automatic watering of plants, it can automatically predict whether there will be a rain or not today, and accordingly it will water the plants. So things related to these services, if we talk, These are capable of providing the things related services within the constraints of things, privacy of protection, and semantic consistency, connecting the physical and virtual. Heterogeneity. This is a big, you can say, the main characteristic as well as a big challenge here. Heterogeneity. As we have already discussed, all these devices, my mobile phone, my refrigerator, they are of different nature, but still we want to put them in a common network. So there is a dynamic changes also, like there is a change in the temperature of the day with the morning and evening. There will be a change in the light also. In the daytime, you will have the sunlight. In the nighttime, you don't have the sunlight. You want your home to be automated, so automatically your lights will be switched on. In vehicles, in cars, nowadays we are automatically getting the rain sensing wipers. We are getting the this automatic headlamps. They will be switched on automatically when there is a dark, and many more features are being provided by these vehicle manufacturers. Similarly, you can have such kind of facilities at your home also. You can just see the outside environment, and accordingly, the lights and fans in your room can be switched on. If you want, your AC will also be integrated with this. You will have the enormous. There is a large number of devices, billions of devices may be connected. You can have your own home network, as well as your home network may be connected to the other your your internet to the outside world. So if you connect your home network, only you restrict yourself within the home network, then the chances of uh, third party security will be high, privacy will be high, because nobody is from the outside world can enter your network. But in this case, you also not able to access your devices from the remote places. But think of the other side. If you are more open, then you can connect your to your home devices from any of the location, and accordingly you can manage. So if you talk about the industry, like the object light, you can say the phone, you can transport, like we are focusing of the rechargeable kind of transport. In the medical, we would like to have the healthy education enlightened. So these are the benefits to which we are going to get the IoT. This is making the world connected. So IoT is to objects what internet was for people. अगर हम बात करें people की, so few years back when I think we were the students, when we were doing our BTech, this internet was a new thing for us. It revolutionized the world, and it led to the interconnection between the people at an unprecedented scale. At that time, we started communicating with the email. This was a big fancy to us. Similarly, nowadays, the IoT is for the people. IoT will be the interconnection between objects to create a small, you can say, the environment. In 2011, the number of interconnected devices on the planet overtook the actual number of people. As we all already seen, more than 50 billion devices are already connected. So these are the things we have already seen. Smart vehicles are there, smart medical system, smart industrial devices, building automation. We are going towards the smart cities. Now we are going towards the smart grid also. Even this whole electricity substations, they are controlled automatically through these smart devices. We have the smart homes, and we have the communication. And apart from this, we also saving all these data collected from these devices into a central location. Maybe as I have given you the example of Google, it is collecting the information of the user. It is going to apply some algorithms over it, and accordingly, after applying some machine learning algorithms onto it, they are going to better predict something, and accordingly, they are going to give you the recommendation. Suppose you have seen anything onto the Google, and while your Facebook is logged in, you will start finding the advertisement coming over there also of similar kind of things. Similarly, if you have searched something on your OLX while logging on to your Facebook also, if you have searched onto your OLX.com, You will start getting the advertisement onto your Facebook also with a similar kind of thing. So there are a number of applications where you can use these technologies, but as I said, this IoT will not work. These smart devices will not work alone. It requires some kind of infrastructure for this, and this infrastructure is basically the 5G and beyond technologies, because higher the internet speed, higher the bandwidth we are getting, uh, more better services we can provide to the users. More users will be connected. I can share one of my personal example with you. I purchased one of the latest phone, I think 10 years back, that costed me around 18,000 at that time. It was having the latest features like internet and something like that. But the challenge was at that time, the internet speed was not up to the mark, and I was not able to use all those features of that device. But nowadays, if I compare my smartphone, it is having, although it is having the more number of features as compared to that time, but the features, those were available in that phone also, I was not able to use. But now, because the infrastructure is provided to have such kind of things, that is why we are able to use these devices. Similarly, this uh, vehicular ad hoc network is also coming up in the coming years, where the vehicles are connecting amongst themselves for data. Nowadays in India, we have not just gone to that level, but in the coming years, we will be finding that the vehicles, there will be intelligent transportation system also in our country. In rest of the world, uh, many of you have already heard about the Google driverless car. They are going to launch their driverless car, although they have given the prototype, but not fully functional. You can say we are able to find it onto the road, but mm, the years are not too far uh, from now when we will be going to see these kinds of vehicles. Those will be automatically driving on their own. So the wave of data onto the network can be used to make life easier, drive efficiency, help us to anticipate things without a trip to a specialist. Like suppose if my body is giving me any kind of symptoms, health issues, then I can go into that. So the consequence is that in 2007 there were virtually no mobile apps. Last year alone, over 100 billion apps were downloaded. Or many apps are coming nowadays. You just go to the Apple Store or Google Store, you will find number of apps. So IoT app economy is there. There are app developers right now who are working on the way to connect your TV to the fridge, as we have already discussed this example. So Internet of Things is a widely useful concept here. It finds use in industry, society, institution, and individual life. These are the various applications where you can use like wearable devices, connected cars, homes, connected cities, industrial internet, transportation, oil and gas, healthcare, engineering, environmental monitoring. And nowadays, we are monitoring the environment also dynamically with these devices, because suppose you would like to suppose measure the temperature in the forest, it is to go manually over there rather to deploy the devices and get the data collected from there. People are getting the data even from oceans, all socially are being on these devices. So I get into the product addressable, need more address space. That is why I'm looking towards the I6. So many technologies are coming up for this addressing, and limitations of IPv4 is addressed by the IPv6 that has already been given. So we are focused on more uniform resource name system to be considered fundamental level, so then devices can be connected. So this is really a new industry, new entrepreneurial space is there. Many student projects or PhDs may be done in this. And nowadays, even the national education policy is talking about the multidisciplinary research. So this IoT may be integrated with the other fields, so that more and more benefits may be provided to the society also. So with this, we end and conclude this session. And we say this IoT is a new world order. Exactly, it connects the objects and make them talks to each other and share the information among themselves and use that information for action. And a new world of smart devices will make human life easier, happy, and the people will live a healthy life with these devices. But in the end, I would like to say, as human beings, we should be more connected. We should help each other, and also take care of our health. So, thank you. With this, we wind up this session. We have 5-6 minutes left. We can take any query if any participant is having.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. It was indeed a very informative session, and you rightly said that internet has changed the life. And the next big thing is the Internet of Things, which is basically, allowing us to connect and access the devices in the real world. Now, do we have any questions from the participants? I think you can also ask the questions after the inaugural section of the AICTE, and I will request all the participants to be connected and joining the AICTE inauguration session, which is to be starting in next 5-10 minutes. The YouTube link for that session has been shared with you onto the WhatsApp group, and you are all requested to join that session. And after that session, we will again start at around 12 for the next technical session. Sir, you are muted. Can you please unmute yourself?
I said,
Yes.
please come back to same link, this one, at 12 noon after attending the formal inauguration by the AICTE. The same link, this one where you are connected, this will be active
Right.
at 12 noon.
Thank you everyone for this session. We
Okay.
will again connect.
So thank you, Dr. Manish, and thank you to the participants for patient learning. Thank you.
Yeah, right. Thank you, sir.